about? This isn't some fairy tale. This is my home.
Haukås River is a river just outside of Bergen, and in the river there lives a population of freshwater river mussels. Haukås River is one of the few rivers that has these mussels. In addition, there are many other organisms such as fish, such as insects, worms, and other animals living together. This map shows our river, and the red dots is our mussels. Together, there are about 1,000 of them.
We mussels filtrate the water, removing pollution, and therefore allowing lots of animals to have a healthy home.
Anyway, once upon a time there lived a really old mussel.
Hey, what are you talking about? I'm not old. I'm only 115, and scientists say I can get up to 200. I've lived a really interesting life, you know.
The mussels have a very interesting life cycle. They first spread out from the sediments into the water to find a new fish host, to find a new place to live. They attach themselves to the gills of the fish and then travel around for up to 1 year.
Now that was a really smoking hot ride.
Until they find a suitable place to settle, after which they drop off the gills and bury themselves into the sediment. They stay there for up to 10 to 15 years until they poke out and start the next life cycle, where they can produce up to 200 million individuals.
If you stop interrupting me now, you can start to take a swim down the memory river.
Do it. Yeah. Just a sec. Back in the good old days, life was great.
Hi Susan, how are the kids?
Hi, Frank. They are fantastic. All 157.
Great.
Great. The
That's
kids
great.
are happy.
But then,
Once it started pooping in the river, more people moved to live near the river, and the construction, it never ended. Oh, guys, what's up?
so bad.
The kids are dying.
They're dying. All of
No.
them.
All of them are dying.
Dead. Children. Dead. Really bad.
Hold on, I think I hear something.
To the science car! We did different tests in our river. We tested 8 different places through the whole river. We took water samples, E. coli and phosphorus. We tested the bottom of the river to see how much oxygen there was there. And lastly, we saw which other animals the mussels were living together with.
Yes, so like Sylvan said, we tested 8 different sites along the river, starting at A from the very top, through to H at the very bottom. We checked the river for a nasty bacteria called E. coli that can make people very ill. And if we look for site G, we found very, very high levels of this nasty bacteria there. And we think that was down to septic tanks that were leaking.
Septic tank? What? Septic what?
Septic tanks?
What do they
Septic
do?
tanks are where when you flush the toilets, it's where your poop gets stored before it goes into the pipes. So we think some of these were leaking and introducing this bacteria into the river.
We did the oxygen test to see how much oxygen there was in the sand of the bottom. This was because the really young mussels, they live buried down in this sand for many years. And we needed to see if they had oxygen so they can breathe. This shows our results. The white columns are the running water in the river, and the green ones further down, it shows how much oxygen it is in the sand at the bottom. The green line here shows how much oxygen the mussels need, and as you can see, they don't have enough, so it's not good.
Wait a minute, you're saying our beautiful babies, they can breathe, not much oxygen?
The kids.
Oh, the babies, the babies.
It's terrible.
So we also checked the river for a chemical called phosphorus, and which normally provides nutrients and foods for green plants to live in the river healthily. But we found the levels of phosphorus in our river were quite high, and this might not be such a good idea for the health of the mussels.
So biodiversity shows us what other animals is in the river. And it could be a good indicator to see if the water is polluted. So we collected different animals, and we gave the different animals a score. And we wanted our scores to be high up in this top right side, in this corner. As you can see, all of our sites, they are just the opposite. They're just all the way down here. And that means that all of our animals were the ones that was tolerant to pollution, and all the ones that didn't tolerate the unclean water, they are already dead.
Hold up, you calling our friends pollution tolerant?
Okay, so the following conclusions can be drawn from this study. Number 1, the overall water quality of the Haukås River is influenced by anthropogenic effects. Number 2, the river can be considered moderately eutrophic.
Wait, hold up now. I don't get it. What does this mean to us? I don't get it. Come on, what?
I guess you can't expect more from someone without a brain. But it means that oxygen levels are too low for the young mussels to survive, and that the nutrient levels are too high for the mussels to thrive.
You say. So, what are the possible solutions?
Well, one possible solution is to stop the siltation. As already mentioned, the young mussel live buried down in sand of the waterbed. So the natural waterbed is covered of big sand, which allows circulation of oxygen to the sediments. But the siltation and small particles cover the top of the waterbed and thereby not including the oxygen in the sediments. Another way to salute this is to lift the sediments by using a big digger. This could be done in places where we think that the mussel will thrive.
A third possible solution is to reduce the nutrient input. There's too much nutrients in the river. There's too much poop. There's just way too much poop. We need to stop pooping in the river, pretty much. A lot of phosphorus. So to reduce that, we need to look at what sites are the sources of the nutrients.
And kill the horses.
To kill the horses.
You know, whatever happens, if we need glue, you know, we use a lot of glue in this, so might need it. The final thing is to reintroduce juvenile mussels. And the river is actually currently part of an ongoing project where scientists are growing young juvenile mussels in a lab with the host fish that they need. And they're going to take those mussels from the lab and they're going to bring them into the river and they're going to place them there and hope for the best. Hopefully they'll be reintroduced and they will settle into the sediments. Our research shows that the only sites that may or may not work are up on the upstream part of the river or down in the very bottom part of the river, the downstream. Those are the best sites that possibly could work for the mussels.
Yeah, and still they are not that good.
It's going to be a good party upstream and downstream.
No middle.
So yeah, thank you a lot for all of your help. I hope something changes soon. I really hope. You know,